We're gonna start tearing down this 87 Honda Super Magna 700 engine. I just got, this is how I received it. Don't yell at me, but this is how the bike came to me. And well, I got the clutch plate off and one of the springs was already rusted through and shot. So, I mean, that's how it's been. It's been sitting outside for quite a long time. This is our clutch pressure plate. A little bit of rust there, but what are you gonna do? I'm gonna start pulling out these one by one, make sure I don't cut myself. I feel like I'm gonna need a little bit of help. This is definitely seized together. I'm gonna get a screwdriver, push that out. 28 millimeter on the impact, and you can get that off pretty quick. And then you just take off this. This actually locks it in place, so make sure you fold those back with your screwdriver and hammer. And then there's a washer. And then this whole thing should probably lift right off. There we go. There's all that. I didn't really need to take all these off, but there's our hub. And then I forget, this thing does it just come off from there? I'll keep working. Yep, that's all it took. I got a little bit of a screwdriver in behind there, started wedging at it, and she came off. So now we're down to gears. It's starting to look familiar. Other Honda engines. All right, well, there's our clutch pack. Down here, it's all rusty. There's our pressure plate. On the other side, this is where they sit, and then this goes over that. So let's move that inside so it's not sitting out here in the rain. This was covered by plastic, so let's see if I can get that covered up again. If you'd like to see this clutch basket all taken apart, here is the outer, and then we have the inner, which everybody rests on. So what actually happens is, this spins separately of that, unless you push all these plates together. We have discs that hook into the outside, and then we have discs that connect to the inside. So obviously these are shot, they're all rusty and junky, but when you press these all together, the grippy material, the outside somehow looks pretty good, goes together and everything turns at once. Pressure plate here, that's what pushes it all together. Sits on the outside, bearings everywhere, bearings on the inside. And then that's the screw that goes on top. These are the screws that are in there, and these springs do their thing and push it out when you're not pulling in your clutch. Does that make sense? I hope so. These aren't gonna work. If you're watching this video, you probably also might be interested in looking at the heads here on the 82 Magna, which is pretty much the same engine. A lot of these parts I'm finding are shared between the 82 up through 88, so it's no different. I was gonna try and list these heads for sale until I really realized that these are pretty much trash. I mean, no one's gonna buy these. There's not any reason to try and do this. So I decided I want to get all the usable parts off of this, and obviously the valves are probably trash, but I thought, hey, you know what? I've never done anything with valves. Let's see if I can get these off. And I knew you probably need a special tool, which I don't have. So I went in with a socket, and all I did was tap the top of the valve spring and the keeper. These little guys right there. Those are the keepers that fit over the valve end, and then this plate holds that on top. And then you have a valve on the outer and a valve on the inner, or a spring, sorry. And then here is what holds our adjuster in place. I got those out, and here's our adjuster, and that just pivots in there. And that's where you adjust these guys. So this is laying right on top of these valves. 2 valves per cylinder, exhaust. You can see over here, 2 exhaust and 2 import. So in and out. And then these are moving, of course. And we're not going to go in through all that, but here are the parts. These are probably shared. I'll have to look, but these might be shared up through 88. 82 through 88 V4 engines. So anyway, like I said, these are probably shot, but I wanted to show you what I'm doing here. Got all of these off, and there's our valve. There is a lip on the end, which that keeper would sit on. And I think if these weren't seized on the other side, these should be able to be lifted free at this point, but I'm not getting them. Here's what they look like when they're installed. And all we do, I don't want to really install these again, but I guess you could. That would be harder than I think I could push myself. But all we do, stick this, make sure you're not on the inside, but get a socket big enough. Don't wreck your socket. Get something strong. If I hit this too much, it might actually break and crack. But you set it over there, tap it with the hammer, and you'll see the little keepers. There's 1 and 2. They're like halves in there. And you just tap that, and then it releases. Then you can pull out the tiny keeper, and then you can pull out the whole thing. So I got valve springs that I can sell. So like I said, I thought I was going to sell these, but both heads are shot, as is the crankshaft. I thought I was going to sell the crankshaft, but it got chewed up by that one cylinder that's stuck. So that's just going to be scrap metal, unfortunately. If you want it, let me know. It's heavy. It'll be heavy to ship. But figured as I rip this stuff apart, clean it up, and list some of it, we got everything you need for an 82. Just some of them are shot. I salvaged what I could out of this transmission and everything. That was fun, learning how to take out a transmission. So now we'll do the other head and get all the valves out of that. We have the bolts, head bolts right there. Why are there only 3? Oh, there's a 4th one right there. And yeah, there's all the parts. So this is fun. Engine archaeology at its best. And then these bolts, I'm not sure what they are. Maybe I'll try and turn those. See if I can save one last thing. I think those are bolts. Bolt heads for something. I don't know what they are. Maybe I'll try to get in with the impact and see if I can pull those off. I figured the valve probably wouldn't pull up from that side because they probably seat here. And I just took a hammer and knocked this valve through. That one obviously was already not well. Not even sure where that went. Just disintegrated maybe. But yeah, there's a valve. Here's one of our valves from our 82 Sabre. Also 82 Magna. And then the valve seat, I guess, is up in there. Maybe I can knock that out through the top. Maybe not. Oh, there's a hole. Oh, that would be the intake or exhaust, whatever that is. So yeah, definitely shot, but I wanted to see what was happening. These are actually loose. Hey, right. I didn't even hit those, but they're loose. They want to come out. Stupid bug. All right, well, I thought I'd show you that. There's a valve. I don't know if you can clean that up and use it. It's pretty shot. Here's all the valve springs, the keepers, and the adjusters, and their, whatever you call them, their holders. And I think I got about everything I need to off these hunks of steel and aluminum, or whatever they are. I guess they're aluminum. But we're gonna throw these to the curb. I couldn't get those out real easily, so I'm just gonna give up on them. I wanted to get a couple more things off this. I tried whacking this through. It was not being easily done. I got it to move, but maybe I don't need that gear shift shaft. I think that's what that is. And then I was trying to get this shift drum out. I could not get this sensor off. That is really hard to get off with a screwdriver. So I guess that'll just go with it because it's hard to get these screws out. Same thing on this side. So anyway, that's your last look at the 82 Sabre that just blew itself apart. Blew itself to smithereens. Guys, I'll see you on the next one. The Sabre and the Super Magna engine are there. So Goodbye. Farewell. We'll see you on the flip side. Get out and ride.